Okay. So I see that, first of all, we will be starting from Docker. Before starting this session, I just want to introduce you guys, myself. So first of all, my name is 𝐊𝐿𝐮𝐞𝐫𝐧𝐞𝐭𝐞𝐬. I'm having 10 plus years of experience that is purely from Linux domain. I am into DevOps from last 5 years and currently working as a lead SME in one of the organization. Um, I'm handling the infrastructure like Kubernetes cluster creation, management, application containerize, Helmify the application, right? So whatever content that you are going to see now, so most of them I'm dealing with right now, and in my organization, I'm the main point of contact if any cluster is failing or issue is happening. So I'm dealing with those things, and from last 3 to 4 years, yeah, 4 year around, so I'm into this training as well. So, I'm delivering trainings around 1,000 plus people. I already trained in Docker and Kubernetes. Mainly, I'm certified Kubernetes administrator. Um, and part time. This is my part time job. I like to teach people, train them on technology. So I'm here and I'm having corporate training experience as well. I trained people from big MNCs like Oracle, Intel, and Microsoft, TechM, Infosys. That's big list is there. I trained people in their campus by being there in these companies. I trained people and some of how doing part-time consulting as well. So the thing is that we'll have to start right now with our course content. Let's execute the session. So guys, see that first of all, we will be starting from the Docker, and then we will be starting with Kubernetes. You know, so the course that I designed here is totally for the people who is working in corporate. Okay. So basically, if you are going through with this course content, so you will be able to complete two certifications. First one is CKA and CKAD, okay, Certified Kubernetes Administrator and Certified Kubernetes Application Developer. See, let me show you cncf.io. This is the organization, cloud foundation, cloud computing foundation. So basically these guys are responsible for designing all the courses of Kubernetes. They are volunteer to bug fixes or future releases or adding removing features in Kubernetes basically. So we will be diving into more detail what exactly these people are doing, what all landscape these people are having, what all projects these guys are running. We will be diving once we are starting Kubernetes. Just give you an small idea, quick idea about their course content that we are now here. So what all courses these guys are having here? Certification, CKA and CKAD. CKA is for people who wants to focus more and more on cluster creation, cluster troubleshooting, application deployment, application troubleshooting, like so. This is for the people, and CKAD is this is having word called application developer, right? Certified Kubernetes application developer. It doesn't mean that you guys are going there and started developing some application. It is not like that. It is all about application containerization, application deployment, application observability, maintenance, all the things related to application, enable disable network services and all for your application deployed in Kubernetes cluster. It is all about that. Okay, you no need to go and start developing any kind of applications. And CKA, if you will be seeing its content, so we will be seeing here side see cluster architecture, installation, configuration, workload scheduling, services, network and networking and services, storage, and it is more on troubleshooting. If you be seeing the weightage and examination of this section, 30% troubleshooting. You should know very well if cluster is failing, what to do. If application is failing, what to do. like that. So once we are starting the content with Kubernetes, so you will be having a clarity that what all things that we are going to see. Okay, so let's see here. First of all, guys, we will be starting with a Docker. Like, we will be seeing what all application platform that do we have. Like, what all type of servers we have. First of all, like bare metal, exactly bare metals are, then virtualization, then containerization, right? We'll be seeing the overview of this all these three platforms, how they are different from each other, why we are having bare metals, what the use of them, what is the virtual machine, what is the use, how it is different with bare metal, and then containerization, why containerization came into the existence, and what is the difference between all these three, right? How containerization is better, and like, what all containerization tools are available. First of all, our Docker is not alone. Okay, Docker is not only the containerization tool available in market. We are having many. The another containerization tool that is growing very fastly, that is Podman. Once Docker is completed, I will be giving you overview of Podman. Okay, and Alexi is there, Containerd is there. Like, there's a few more containerization tools. So we will be discussing them. Okay, and not very deeply, just overview. Okay, but our main focus is on Docker, right? Because Docker is really very important, and if you don't know Docker, so you will be having a lot of trouble working it with Kubernetes, because Docker is a container, a tool that will be helping you to create containers, and Kubernetes will be orchestrating it. Means Kubernetes will be managing your thousands or hundreds of thousands or millions of containers through Kubernetes. Okay, so here we can see that, like, the same thing. We'll be learning, like, Docker installation on EC2 or VirtualBox. Okay, and I will be giving you some of the option over here, like, what all free tools are available on internet that you can start practicing quickly without creating EC2 instances. Because, like, I know that AWS account is available, free tier account is available for everybody, but that is only for a T2 micro instances. And if you are creating volumes there, so EBS volumes, so there will be the charges. To avoid such things, we are having some of the 100% free solutions that will be discussed in our sessions. So all of you continuing the session. After that, we will be looking in here, like, a difference between like, desktop, okay, Docker desktop and Docker server, and how to check the version, like, what is the Docker architecture, Docker daemon registry, what all Docker objects that we have here, underlying a technology of Docker, like, its namespace, C group, UFS, what exactly these things are that we will be diving into. And then we will be started working with Docker images, what exactly Docker images are, how to create our own images, what all images are publicly available, how to use them, how these images are working, right? What all thing your container image contains, and how we can customize those images, how to host them in like, some of the image registries, right? Image registries, like, we will be learning about GitHub, GitLab, JFrog is optional, it's not here. And just we will be comparing, like, ECR, ACR, Azure container registry, AWS container registries, uh, EC, ECR, right? So we'll be discussing about what all registries are available, what is image layers, right? How to create containers out of images, how, like, image is different, how container is different, how containers are getting created, how to list them, how to delete them, how to stop them, right? So all about the container related thing that we will be diving into it. And after that, we will be learning about Docker networking. Let's say we are having um, 10, 12 containers, right? So how we can access them outside of our server from internet, and how those container can communicate from each other. Let's say front end is running in some other container, backend is running in some other container, how you will be enabling the communication in between them. And like, uh, networking side, what type of networks that is available in Docker, right? Host, bridge, overlay, these things we will be looking into, and after that, we will be seeing like how to write a Docker file. This is a thing, custom. Sorry, yeah. Custom Docker image. How to build a custom Docker image by writing a Docker file, what all instruction that Docker file is using, and we will be learning, or we will be containerizing one of our application, small application that I'm having. Okay, we'll be containerizing it, we'll be keeping inside container, and we will be converting it to an image, and we'll be hosting that image in our repository. We'll be downloading it, all of you can download it, all of you can create container out of that, right? And this is something part securing Docker. A few things that we will be talking here, like ensure communication using TLS, port forwarding, and EC2 security group to to make it accessible your application outside of the server on internet. What exactly Docker Compose is? What is Docker Swarm? Docker Compose is nothing but you'll have to write. Let's say you want to start two three containers at the same time, right? And you want to create a network for them. So what you will do, manual process will be very lengthy process. All the instruction will be writing in one YAML file, and will be executing that YAML file, so that desired container should start it. It's just a small thing about Docker Compose. And Docker Swarm, basics of Docker Swarm, we will be looking into it, because Docker Swarm is nobody, like no company is using Docker Swarm. Just for an idea what exactly it is, we will be going through with Docker Swarm, and we will be learning about YAML files. Okay, here after this, Kubernetes will be started. So guys, see here, what exactly Kubernetes is, and then we'll be looking into what all its core component that we have of Kubernetes, that we'll be talking about here, and what is worker node, what is master node concept, that we'll be diving in deep with this. We'll be learning how to deploy a kube cluster. Okay, kube cluster, this is mostly interviewer will be asking you, most of the time interview will be asking you about a kube cluster, and all the exam like CKA, CKAD, they will be telling you to create a kube cluster only. They're not be going to ask you about AKS or EKS and GKE. So basically, guys, what happens is, we are having different cloud providers, and you might be hearing that, okay, this AWS people are providing their own Kubernetes solution, Azure is having their own, Google is having their own, Oracle is having their own solutions to run Kubernetes cluster. So I will be telling you the differences majorly. Whatever Kubernetes objects that we are going to create in our sessions, those all those objects will be working in any Kubernetes, provided by any cloud provider. Okay, so if you're working with EKS or AKS, it will not be making any big difference over there. See, the main difference is there, that is Kubernetes cluster creation and maintenance. Rest of the thing will be 100% same. I will be discussing a bit about OpenShift as well, because it is growing very fastly these days, and companies are asking OpenShift as well. Okay, so basically OpenShift is a product of Red Hat, created on top of Kubernetes. Okay, so I need a minute, guys. I'm not describing anything. Just we didn't start it till now. Our main contents. This is just an overview, that all about content that we are going through, or we will be going through this course. Okay. Yeah. So, what are the concept of master node, and worker node, and what all components that these nodes will be having, right? Those things we'll be looking into it, and what exactly pod is, I guess I'm hearing a lot of sound. Ting, 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 ting. What is that? Okay. So, so what exactly pod is, and how to create pod, and what all things your pod will be containing. Those things will be looking into it, right? How to allocate some amount of memory and CPU to your containers, basically inside the pod. So guys, basically pod is nothing but a container of containers. It will be containing containers in it. So how we can allocate some amount of memory, some amount of CPU to your containers. Okay. And finally, what exactly replication controller is? Replica set is, right? We're talking about replication controller, replica set, deployment, daemon set, and stateful set. These are Kubernetes objects that we'll be looking into it. How to deploy your deployments and rolling update, and how we can make our application highly available, auto scaling, right? Manual scaling. So those things we will be looking into in this deployment object. Similar thing we can do with a daemon set and stateful set. And we are having volumes, ephemeral volume, persistent volumes. What exactly ephemeral volumes are, and how it works, and what is the difference between persistent and ephemeral volume? What type of volumes that we are having available with us? We'll be looking into it. Okay, most uh, probably we'll be looking into empty directory, host path, and EBS volume. We'll be discussing about NFS, just overview. And then, what type of services we have, right? Cluster IP, node port, load balancer, how to create them, how to make your application accessible outside of the cluster and within the cluster. Like one application is again the front end, back end funda is here. Like front end is running in some another pod, backend is running in some another pod, how to make them accessible. Those things we'll be discussing here. After that, we will be seeing what exactly secrets is, config maps is. Let's say I'm having some of the configuration I want to make, or I want to keep it in centralized place, and I want to call it in my multiple deployment. So config map is the object we will be looking into it, how it works, right? And secrets. If you want to, keep your passwords or your certificates in encrypted way, how you can keep it in your Kubernetes cluster. So we'll be discussing about this one. Ingress controller. Basically, we're talking about Nginx ingress controller here. See, HPA is nothing but auto scaling. That should be above, just below the deployment. So the topic came down. Like scheduling, this is something important, right? So interview will be asking you about this scheduling. So basically, whenever we are talking about scheduling, so how we can schedule a pod in a specific node or a specific type of node, how we can restrict pod deployment in some of the node, and we can put some of the condition. If the condition is getting fulfilled, only few pods or such some pod can be deployed in a particular node, condition based. That we will be looking into here, like a node name, node selector, pod affinity, anti affinity, node affinity, anti affinity, taint and toleration will be covered here. Container health check in Kubernetes, like if you want to check the health of your container, whether it is running fine or not, if it is having some issue, like readiness, liveness, startup probes. These are all health check. We will be looking into it. Cron job we are having here, Calico, and this is something authentication and authorization is we'll be looking here RBAC, role based access. Okay, role based access. Let's say for an example, we are 10 20 people working in a project, and I want each of the people will have their own roles and responsibility. Based on their roles and responsibility, allocate or assign them permissions. So one person is we can assume that one person who is taking care of all the deployment and application maintenance, he should have all the permission related to application deployment and cluster troubleshooting. So according to that, how we can create roles and we can bind them with that particular user. What exactly cluster role is, cluster role binding is, role and role binding, these are the two things, never be confused. Role binding, cluster role binding. how it works, that will be looking into it. And we will be looking into, like, dashboard. Kubernetes is having its own graphical user interface, that is nothing but Kubernetes dashboard. How to deploy Kubernetes? How to deploy Kubernetes dashboard? Okay, how to deploy Kubernetes dashboard and access it from your web browser. See, it is the risky. Most of the time, companies are not deploying this one because nobody will be keeping their complete cluster on accessible on internet, right? Anybody can access it. So most of the, if you will be seeing that hackers will be like hacker attacks on website, even on the day one, if you are learning cyber security or hacking cracking thing. So from day one itself you will be targeting websites, right? You will not be going to check out some of the available servers. This is the another scenario that you will be tracking an application, like, if you want to put some of the uh, attacks on Amazon or Netflix. So how you will be reaching to their server? First of all, you have to uh, do some of the scanning, IP scanning and all through their website, DNS, a lot of things, right? So then only you'll be reaching to the server, correct? So the similar thing, if you are keeping or making your Kubernetes cluster accessible on internet, so again it will be a risk, right? You're directly putting your server on web. So no companies are doing that, right? But still, we will be looking into dashboard as well. We should know what exactly dashboard is, how we can deploy or manage applications through dashboard. It is mandatory, I think, because, like, we are having OpenShift. OpenShift is totally based on GUI, not totally, but 50%. We can say that they are running their services through dashboards, right? So here we will be looking into dashboard and we'll be deploying application which works or which require database, right? And how to take the backup of etcd, how to restore it, and upgrading Kubernetes version from just one above version, that we'll be seeing how upgradation happens in Kubernetes. Now after that we are having Helm charts. What exactly Helm chart is? Helmify the application and, um, Helmify the application and create the chart out of it. Package, create a package of your chart, host it to some of the repositories. Okay, so these things that we are going to see. And yes, this was the content. If you guys are having any question queries regarding this content, you guys need to ask me now. Yes, guys. If anybody is having any question queries regarding this content, you can ask me here.
So,
Yeah.
Anish, Firoz here. So,
Yes, yes.
actually, a couple of points from my side, right? So, as you talked about one of the content that is based on our requirement, right? As we can install more containers, right, or more instances to support
Mhm.
our customer needs and all of that. But I think from a
Uh-huh.
load balancing standpoint, how those multiple instances or multiple containers can be load balanced, I think I did not see that in the agenda, that how can we
Mhm.
bring those multiple containers or multiple runtime instances into the rotation
Okay.
without impacting
So
customer.
yes. So first of all, whenever we are creating any deployment, right? Whenever we are planning to deploy one application in Kubernetes cluster. So Kubernetes is having some of the object called deployment. Main object is deployment over there. So deployment works with replica set. That replica set will be creating defined number of replicas, and we will be applying HPA on that, horizontal power data scaler. On that, let's say once CPU load is reaching to particular threshold, so HPA will start spinning up more and more containers, right? So the funda, that the question that you asked me here is, load balancer behind, the load balancer, how these containers are getting managed, right?
Yeah,
How they are, how you are accessing your application while you are having multiple containers of same application. So let me show you something here quickly. So this is the high level question for the freshers. I know that, guys, but don't bother about this thing. we will be looking this thing in very deep and detail. So see here, these are my worker nodes. Okay, let me write something here. This is my worker node, node 1, and this is my node 2. This will be my node number 3. See, we will be having multiple nodes in Kubernetes cluster. So here your pods are running. This is your pod. This is your application pod. Okay. Now this is your application pod. So this is the pod, and the pod. This is the pod. The same application pod. Its copy, its replicas are running. Three replicas got created in each of the worker node. Now, how you will be making it accessible? So basically, we will have to create a service. Okay, here we will be creating a service. So we are having three type of services. Okay, load balancer service. We are having we are having node port service. We are having cluster IP service. Right? These are main service. Let's say you are creating a load balancer service. Okay, so whenever you want to make your application accessible, you'll have to create a service. These two type of service will allow you to access your application outside of the cluster. What those two type of services are: load balancer and node port. We are having few more. We are having ingress controller. Later on, we'll be talking about that. So basically, load balancer service will be give you an IP address if it is AWS. So basically, how we are getting load balancer in AWS, something ELB something blah 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 number will be there, and after that amazonaws.com, something like this. A big name. It's very small, characters I kept here, but it will be very big if you're seeing in real time. So this will be your load balancer. Okay, this will be your load balancer, and this is the service that you created over here. So how this service will be knowing that I'll have to make it accessible these pods only, because there is very high possibility hundreds of application might be running in your Kubernetes cluster. How it will be identifying your application that it will have to make it accessible. So whenever we are creating a pod, so behind the pod we will be having labels. Okay, we'll be having labels. App colon my app. For an example, I'm just defining this label over here. See, app my label. This labels will be assigned to your pod in your configuration. Okay, in this service you'll have to define a type. Okay, you will be defining type over here. What type of the service is? I'm saying that I'm creating load balancer service, and after that I'm having here one major configuration, that is nothing but selector. What all pods to be selected by this service. So you can define whichever pod is having this label called app equals to my app, those pods should be accessible through this load balancer service, and this load balancer service owns this load balancer. Got it? So whenever we'll be hitting to
Yeah,
this load balancer, this pod will be accessed randomly.
got it. Yeah, because I
Perfect.
mean my main point was as part of the agenda, I did not see the load balancing.
So
I think yeah,
no, 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 no. Load balance service is there. Load services in service section. If you will be seeing, let me take you somewhere. Where is service? I guess Docker
that's
service.
fine. That's fine. Yeah, as long as it's covered, yeah, we are good with that. And the
Yeah.
second point, right, the core one is I think since we are covering so many technical aspects, right, which are very interesting, and as I think I heard earlier also, right, pretty much everyone is new for this session. So
Mhm.
how we can, for a practice standpoint, right, like whatever topics we are covering daily. So do we have any lab setup which we can access and then play of the topics whatever you are going to cover daily?
Definitely, definitely. We are having multiple solutions. My session is full of lab only. Okay, theory will be there. Theory will be there, but I'm not I'm not I'm not like another trainer who is just at dragging theory long and long, that stretching, they are eating up theory. I don't like that one. Theory will be discussed, but those are required, and those are required to understand the object or the topic, that theory I will be describing. Let's say what exactly pod is. I will be telling this is like, container, what all things it can contain, how you can keep it. Then we will be started doing practical. When it comes to practical, I am having multiple lab solutions. First one is AWS itself. Okay, three tier account you can create, but still bills will be there. Not very huge bill that you are going to get. We will be creating kubeadm cluster. Okay, kubeadm cluster will be the lightweight cluster, and but still, because it will be using load balancer, it will be creating we I think we will be spinning up some of the EBS volume, so it will be chargeable there. T2 medium instances will be using, so charges will be obviously there. So if you are really thinking that I want to do practice on AWS only, then you can go with AWS. Okay, AWS QADM cluster. Okay. If you're thinking that okay, I don't want to go for AWS because every month I will be started getting bill. Let's say we are learning a topic, and sometimes I know that it happens one month you are okay to manage the cluster bill, but what the next month, and if you are creating some of the deployment, you want to keep it for a very long time. I'm having another solution for it is VirtualBox. Okay, VirtualBox. Oracle VirtualBox is here. Okay, in this Oracle VirtualBox, I will be telling you how to create VMs. Okay, how to create VMs and create kubeadm cluster, one master, two worker node. Okay, and let's say Docker. I don't want to install. I don't want to dive into the mess of this. VirtualBox and all. So Docker desktop is there. I will be telling you to use Docker desktop, and we are having some another solution Ubuntu you can install on your Windows machine. Okay, directly. Okay, Ubuntu can be installed on the same laptop. While inside Windows 10 or 11, you can install Ubuntu, and there you can create or install Docker and create Kubernetes cluster over there. Right? So we are having multiple solution. If you're thinking that, let's say I'm sitting in my office, I want to practice. I don't have my personal laptop. I'm having labs available on my mail or my GitHub account. So I will be giving you those options as well. Don't bother for lab and all. 100% practical sessions will be there, and lab setup will be there for you. Yeah. Yes, guys. Anybody else? Krish, I guess you raised
Yeah,
hands.
can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Krish.
Yeah, so if we are using VirtualBox or we're using a multi-pass Ubuntu, can we use load balancer
Multipass Ubuntu. So
or VirtualBox?
basically, huh? You can do
Can we?
that. We are having. See, I'll tell you. You can do that. You can do that by doing virtual box. You can do that. But the thing is that Kubernetes is very vast. You have to install a tool called Metal LV. Once Metal LV is installed and configured properly, you'll start creating load balancers over there.
Oh, oh,
So
okay,
you'll have to put some of the effort on Metal LV. That's the thing.
okay. We can't use Nginx for load balancer.
And yeah, Nginx, not the Nginx load balancer. You will be able to create Kubernetes native service load balancers. It will be giving you
Oh,
IP addresses. It will
okay,
start
okay,
giving you IP addresses. Yeah, that's the thing.
okay, okay. I really want to see that.
Okay, so you do that because we are already having lots of things in our course content, and one thing is not mentioned here, GitOps. I will be adding GitOps content into this one, Argo CD. So course content is really very huge. So yeah, that's the thing. At the time, it is not possible for me to go for those third party tools. I can guide you, I can provide you documentation, but you'll have to do by their own. And I believe once you are going through with my all the content end of the session, I believe that you will able to do such things by your own.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think it would be good if you can provide those prerequisites, right, for any session. Let's say tomorrow you are going to cover about Kubernetes, right? If you can share or let us know ahead of time for creating such accounts, right? At least it would be useful
definitely.
rather providing in the session, right? Because it will be too late if we have some issues, right? We will lose time in practicing your current content rather trying it out later, right? Because we will be running
Right.
short.
Yeah,
So I think
definitely.
that would be good. Yeah.
It's a prerequisite only. I'll be
Yeah.
informing you, like, you will be having course content with you, that what we are going to see tomorrow, day after tomorrow, and everything you will be having with you. And
Yeah. Yeah.
like, how can I support you here? How it works? My sessions. So, guys, basically, we will be creating one WhatsApp group. Let's say you are practicing uh, out of the training hours, right? You are practicing by your own, you started facing difficulty. So we don't want to wait for next day's session. You can ping me on WhatsApp. WhatsApp group will be there. So during your lab sessions or practicals, if you are facing any difficulty and challenges, then simply uh, you can ask me on that WhatsApp group. And sometimes it will be delayed. I'm in meeting. I'm in my working hours. I'm in deployments. At that time, answer will be delayed, but not very long. Okay, I'll be replying you there.
Okay. And can you also cover maybe the basic, may not be in detail, right? Basic about service mesh as well, since we are talking about clusters and all of that, right? Can you cover
I'll try.
what is service
I'll try.
mesh, and then yeah, where does it come into picture, right? Yeah.
Sure. I will be trying it. I will be trying it because
Sure.
we are already having a big course content. We are already having a lot of things
Exactly.
in our
Exactly.
content. So yeah.
Yeah. No, that's why I mean, may not be practical standpoint or creating a
No,
separate
no,
course
no,
content.
no.
Maybe the basic
Yeah.
overview, what
Yeah.
is
End
it,
of the.
and then yeah,
So we will be keeping 1 or 2 days for such things.
perfect.
We'll be keeping 1 or 2 days for such things so that I can help you on that. I can guide you. Yeah. On additional things. So guys, the
And
prerequisites before starting the session is Linux. If you guys are having idea about Linux, not I'm saying that, like, you should be expert level. No, only the basic things about Linux. How to create files, directories, right? How to create EC2 instances on AWS, right? How to log in into that security group idea, like, how to enable port number from security group. That is the thing that will be helpful. Okay, so that is the thing, guys. And just I just want to start this slide basically. Okay, I hope we are over with questions. Yeah. If you guys are having any question queries, like Sudhi, Satya, Mani, Raju, Surya, I just want to make this session very uh, useful for you. So you should interact with me, okay, so that you can learn the things. You can ask me the question queries if you really want to learn. And my suggestion for you guys is whatever things that we are doing on daily basis. Like today I told you few labs, 2 3 or 10 labs, even I'm telling you like few commands I'm discussing here, right? Whatever content that we are going through the labs, right? So my suggestion for you is just execute, or execute those commands and labs by your own after the session, in daytime, anytime. Okay, anytime you are getting time, like half an hour or 1 hour, just do that. 1 hour is not a big time. It's a very small time that you guys will be spending on you will be you will be investing on yourself. So if you are executing labs, if you are facing difficulties, I will be there. If you are thinking like, okay, I'll do this tomorrow, and okay, I tired a lot, let's do it day after tomorrow. If you are keeping things pending day by day, so what will happen is end of the day, you will be reaching slowly at this training to end of the day, and you'll be finding it out that I wasted my lot of time, and now I'll have to practice alone. Okay, so it's better perform the labs on daily basis. Things will be easy for you at the time. Yes, guys. I know this is 1 hour session and we have completed it. So
Yeah, hi. Uh,
yeah,
Hello.
so the
Yeah,
yeah, so the
just
right.
maybe it's basic for you, but
Uh-huh.
so I want to know like the profile would be like Kubernetes administrator or its operation, like how it is after completing this course.
Profile will be okay. Good question. So guys, this course that we already seen is like it's combination of two certificates. Okay, cncf.io. Jumping to Google. So see here, these two certificates, a mix up of these two certificates, 𝐶𝐾AD and CK, it's a mix up. So basically, end of the course, that you will have to find it out in which areas you are best. Okay, based on practice only, you can make sure this. Okay, because this thing is also covered there. Cluster architecture, installation, configuration, workload scheduling, service networking, storage, troubleshooting, these things is covered. Not only this, if you be seeing this thing here, ckad, so ckad is talking about application design, build, deployment, maintenance, security, application environment, service networking. This thing is also covered. So you will apply for Kubernetes administrator as well, but make sure that you are having very good troubleshooting skills as well. I can guide you, but it totally depends on you how you are practicing, how much time you are spending on the labs and all. Then only it will help you. It's better to go for DevOps engineer, senior DevOps engineer designation that gonna help you. If you are going on that architect level, specifically Kubernetes, cluster creation and troubleshooting and maintenance and all, then you will have knowledge of all most of the cloud providers Kubernetes cluster, how to create them, how to manage them, right? EKS, uh, that's from AWS, Azure, AKS, Azure Kubernetes Service, GKE, Google Kubernetes engine. So you need to know about these things. Again, you can sometimes, if you are, let's say, you prepared yourself for EKS. You are very familiar with AWS. You already know AWS and its most of the services, all the EC2 related services and load balancer, auto scaling group, launch template, and load balancer, and then VPC and S3. Then you simply say that I used to work with EKS cluster, not only EKS. You want to make expert, you want to make yourself expert in Kubernetes in all those cloud providers, then you'll have to dive into each of the cloud basically. So how this works? So my suggestion is basically if you don't know much about Kubernetes or you are new for Kubernetes, so go for DevOps engineer role or simply for Kubernetes administrator. But again, the thing is that you should know any of the cloud, right? And the most
Basic.
important, yeah, and the most important thing here is that we are learning Kubernetes in very deep. Okay, if you are joining any of the DevOps course, you will never be finding that they are covering 100% Kubernetes. They will be just talking about only the required object that you are going to deal on day-to-day activities. They will not be telling you scheduling. They will not be telling you about PVC, and cluster installation management. Right? There are a lot of things are available. Got it, guys? Anything, any
Yeah.
question?
Yeah, one more question. Uh, if you'll go with the administrator, Kubernetes administrator, one or two AWS technologies sufficient to attend the interviews and change
Huh,
like
so
AWS, Red
see,
Hat, or
so
only
these
AWS,
days,
like.
yeah, you should know all the service related to Kubernetes in AWS, and then Kubernetes is okay.
Okay. So how is the market now in administrator,
That's
Kubernetes
good
and Docker
only.
and.
Yeah, it is. It is a skyrocket. So basically, sometimes if you can monitor by yourself. Don't believe on me, okay? Don't trust on me. You can monitor this thing by yourself. Just create LinkedIn profile, and there is one job section, and see how many job post is happening for Kubernetes there. Same thing you can do on Naukri as well. Sometimes, in a month or some weeks, it might be very less. Next week it will be more, and like it depends on market basically. But Kubernetes market is growing very fastly, so definitely it's a good to have Kubernetes experience or knowledge and certificate.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, guys. So are you ready to give me another 15 minutes?
What are the batch timings?
9 to 10. And I think it's better to ask with Malti and my team. They will be, guiding you about batch timings. Yep. So, yes, guys, quickly, can you answer this question? Can you give me another 15 minutes? All of you. If there is no answer, I can assume that you are okay.
Yeah, we
Yes.
are okay.
Perfect.
Yes.
Perfect. So guys, see that let's talk about containerization. Okay, how containerization work. Okay, when it came into existence and what is the role of the containerization. I'm just giving a quick overview because I know that we are running late and I'm taking your 15 minutes extra. So guys, see that let's assume that you are a developer. To develop an application, what all things are required? First of all, we need to have one laptop. On top of that laptop, we will be installing one operating system. Am I right? On top of that operating system, we will be installing our compiler and we will be having our web server. Here we are taking example of PHP based application which required PHP and Apache web server needs to be installed on your system. Then only you can create PHP based application. So see that here, this is the developer guy who is having a laptop which is having Ubuntu operating system. On top of Ubuntu, he installed Apache and PHP, and then he started creating his PHP files, configuration files, and libraries. He started creating. So this is how development will happen. Just to make it alive, so similar configuration you will be keeping it on your EC2 instance, or any cloud instance you will be creating there, and you will be creating similar configuration to make your application alive on internet, right? So this happens in very small companies, right? A developer is the only person who is developing the application, and he is putting all the code and configuring the server, so that application can be accessed from outside of the server, right? This very small organizations, architecture, how it works. But whenever we are talking about enterprise level of application, so how thing works over there. So see that we will not be having a single developer, we'll be having a lot of developers, right? We'll be having team of developers. So let's say one team is working to develop one of the application in enterprise level of architecture. So what will happen is this developer guy will be developing the code. Okay, he will be developing the code and he will be pushing it to centralized code repository, right? Git or svn somewhere. So once code is pushed to Git, so he will be dropping mail to ops team, okay, saying that okay, this module is being is committed to the Git. You can deploy in our particular environment. It could be your POC or QA, UAT, right? Not it will not be the prod, but some environments will be there. So from the DevOps team, a DevOps guy will be like, pulling the code and he will be deploying. So currently we are not talking about any automation or things, Jenkins and all. We are doing it manually just for understanding the concept. So see here, this DevOps guy will be pulling the code and he will be deploying in his respective environment. Now guys, see that this DevOps guy deployed the code and he started seeing bugs. Now what he will be doing? He will be just calling back to developer, or he will be dropping mail or Slack or site like Teams. He will be contacting to developer or its team saying that, like, no bro, your code is not working, you sent me faulty code, and what should I do with your code, right? They will be discussing, they will be doing a telephonic call as well, right? So now he will be telling that the code was working on my system, why it is not working on the environment, like, check it out, the issue, right? They will be discussing. They might be scheduling, like, a call, right? Conf call they will be scheduling, and like, based on the error and issues, they will be troubleshooting. This time at this point, there is possibility, lot of like, things they'll have to do to troubleshoot the issue. First of all, let's say they scheduled a conf call, and this conf call, like, they will be joining the conf call, and they will be talking about, or they will be like troubleshooting where is the issue, why this error is occurring. And after spending a lot of time, these guys are getting to know the root cause. Okay, once these guys are getting to know the root cause is PHP version 7.0, the code this developer wrote is in latest version of PHP. They got to know this thing. So now guys, see here what this DevOps guy will be doing it. Like, his like, the code version mismatch issue is happening in my environment. PHP version 6.0 is deployed, and the developer wrote the code by using 7.0, right? So what this developer guy, sorry, this DevOps guy will be doing is, I'm giving you option. Okay, suggest me. What this DevOps guy will do is, will be upgrading this version, or he will be telling this developer, brother, downgrade your PHP version available on your system and rewrite the code. Okay, what do you think about this? Which is the best practice? You can answer me even wrong, I will be correcting you. Yes guys. Yeah.
And if we are feasible to upgrade the PHP version, better we are suggesting to go with the upgrade of the PHP version.
What about others? Yes guys, what about others?
It depends upon the enterprise-wide solution, right? If 6.0 is outdated and
Mm-hmm.
7.0 is recommended one, then yes, he should do the 7.0 upgrade first and then put the code.
Okay, anybody else? So guys, all of you are going to work in DevOps, and a guy who is like, a DevOps engineer, he will be having root privileges, okay, in the system, but never ever to upgrade anything in the cluster or in your environment. Never to do that. It can cause your termination. Okay, the reason is, now see that in your environment, do you think that you will be having only this application running? Obviously no. There is possibility that hundreds of applications is already working or running with the same version 6.0. As soon as you are upgrading this version from 6.0 to 7.0, those application will be affected, and those will be stopped working, correct? And those application will be throwing lots of errors, and alerts will be generated, and like, like, big acceleration will happen. Never to do such mistake. Whenever any kind of version upgrade happens in your company, in your project, so there will be the conf call, there is a procedure to upgrade or downgrade of versions. Downgrade is like very rare. Okay, but Upgradation, for upgradation, it will happen on conf call, and documentation and procedure will be there that you need to follow. You have to simply tell to this developer guy saying that, bro, downgrade your PHP version and write code accordingly to this. If your application works only on this version, because we know that whenever version mismatch is happening, newer release is having new feature is added, those features will not be working with older version, right? So this kind of scenario will be there. Okay, so now containerization came. So we cannot upgrade, like we cannot upgrade it to 7.0, that will be a big mess. So like how we can solve the issue. Now containerization came, Docker came into existence. How Docker is solving the issue, this issue. Now, see that this is something like how Docker came. Basically, one company was there called Dot Cloud. These guys, they developed the Docker, and later on it is renamed to Docker. You can see that here. How Docker came, where did Docker came from? So basically, there is a service available in Unix OS, FreeBSD. See, jail. Jails was a feature that introduced in 2000. 2000. This is a software that will be helping you to separate or isolate your running processes. Then vServer came in 2001. This is from Solaris. So what it is doing here is, let's read this one. So jails, it is free BSD jails expand to Unix chroot to isolate files. Okay, just to isolate files, this tool came to isolate your files in 2000 called jail. And vServer came in 2001. So Linux vServer port kernel isolation, but requires recompilation. So it used to help us to isolate the ports and playing with kernel vServer. After that, 2004 Solaris came. So Solaris is nothing but a Solaris zone came to bring concept of snapshots. Okay, snapshot. It came up with snapshot zones. 2004, 2006 Google introduces C group. Is nothing but control groups. So Google introduced process container merge as a C group. So Google introduced you this thing. Later on in 2008, Red Hat introduced Red Hat adds user namespace limiting root access in containers. So here, like 2006, containers are started. Red Hat implemented the namespaces. In 2008, they implemented namespaces here. After that, IBM started working on it. LXC containers came. LXC did something extra with including there is coming up jails and vServer, zones, C group, names. They started to mix up things. In LXC 2008, IBM creates LXC, providing user tool for C group and namespace. Again, they are mixing it up. And Docker came in 2030, and this Docker people, they mixed all the concept all together in form of Docker containers. So this is how we got the Docker, right? Now we will be talking about the same issue that we were facing now, how it is solving or solved by Docker is here. So what Docker did is, because of all this isolation, process isolation, file system, and C group, this namespace thing, all thing came together in form of Docker containers. In Docker container, in Docker container, you will be keeping your operating system, your compiler, web server, all binary library together in form of a container. Okay, so as soon as you are creating container on the machine, so each container will have their own, okay, their own web server, their own compiler, their own operating system. Okay, their own operating system each container will be having. Here the issue got resolved, the version mismatching. So now again, assume that I discussed here one thing with you guys, how developers will be developing an application. On the laptop he will be having one operating system, compiler, web server, and all the files, right? So before this Docker, when we used to have bare metals, right? So this architecture is for bare metals. In the bare metals, in your physical servers, you have to install Ubuntu. You have to take care of its upgradation, downgrade, and installation of compiler, web server, application hosting. You will be taking care, right? So similar thing was happening here. So again, in all the servers you will be installing your compiler, web server, and keeping your application files over there, right? Now what happens in containerization, you no need to install PHP and your web server like this way. Okay, you no need to install PHP and your web server like this way. So how thing works is, only on your machine you will have to install is Docker engine, whether it is your virtual machine or EC2 instance or your bare metal on premises server. You need to install Docker on top of Ubuntu. That's it. You no need to think of installation of PHP or this Apache and this file configuration. Okay, you will be keeping this inside the container, and once these things are kept into the container, it doesn't matter one application is running on 7.0 and one is running on 6.0 and one is running on some different PHP version, compiler version. It doesn't matter. So this is how, guys, Docker is solving this situation or this kind of error issues. Not only this, there is many things that will have to go through. I believe in our next session, we will be going through with those things, how Docker is different, and what is the difference between VM, bare metal, and Docker containers. Everything will be cleared very from the basics to advanced level. We will be slowly moving it. So yeah, this is the demo session. So I was thinking to cover this topic in today's session. So yes, guys, if you guys are having any question, queries regarding this, you can ask me right now. Nobody? Yeah, guys.
So Anish, if I understand the last statement about Docker instance, a Docker engine installation, right? Let's assume that I have a Linux VM, and on
Uh-huh.
that, our earlier problem statement, what you have called out, that is the setup, right? Where I have my operating system and I have my application installed on top of it, and I'm using it. So that is a bare metal concept, right?
Correct.
Directly installing
Correct.
operating system and application on top of it.
Yeah.
Now, to mitigate or the problem statement, what you had explained, yes, that is a well-known problem statement that not only your application, there might be a number of instances might be using that, and if you have some
Huh.
core on the underlying issue, version issue occurs, right? Then yes, everybody get impacted with that. So in this
Hmm.
scenario, on the same Linux VM, we need to install Docker engine, or are you talking about completely a new infrastructure to set up
So if
Docker engine?
uh, so no, no, no. So basically, in this infrastructure also you can do that, but again you'll have to remove this thing. Have to work from the scratch. It's better to create a new VMs.
Okay,
That will be good. Yeah, that will be the good thing. Because
okay.
anyhow,
So
Docker will not be helping you to run your enterprise level of applications. The reason behind is containers cannot recover their self. You need to have Kubernetes. Then you need to install Kubernetes. Kubernetes is the main thing. So that's the reason slowly you guys will be getting to know the use and importance of Docker and Kubernetes both. Okay. So yes, guys, that is it from my side. I'm done with today's demo session, and once we are continuing it, my team will be reaching it out to you, or you can reach it out to them when this session that we are planning to continue. So please be in touch with my team. Ask them if you guys are having any question queries. You can ping them anytime. I think they are already posting chat messages to all of you, right? You can make it note down of this contact number. Malti will be there. She will be guiding you best.
When the batch going to start? New batch?
Most probably on Monday. Most probably on Monday. Be in touch with Malti, and yeah,
Okay.
ask her the things. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, guys. Anything? Any question, queries?
I'm audible.
Yes, Priyanka.
Yeah, actually, I am working in Azure. I don't have that much knowledge in Linux, so I will be understanding this training, right?
Definitely, definitely. Basic. See, what I said is basics of Linux. I will be sharing once you guys are joining on the day one. I will be sharing some of the link or basics of Linux, some ebook, I guess. I'll try to bring it up here, and so that you can go through with that. We need only basics: how to create file, how to create directory, how to log into the system. Are those things we need to know?
Okay. So I want to get knowledge in AKS also. So this also
So
can be
I'll tell you.
covered.
I'll tell you the thing. So I hope you were listening me from last 1 hour. So what I said is like all the components, all the objects of Kubernetes that we are going to see, that will be working in all the cloud. The difference that you'll be finding it out in AKS, EKS, and GKE, all this kind of Kubernetes clusters is the major difference will be there, like uh, cluster creation and their maintenance. Rest of the thing will be 100% same in everywhere. Got it?
Yeah, okay.
EKS will not be covered. EKS will not be covered. If you want of some free docs or related to Kubernetes, that I can try to get it for you.
Okay.
Yes. So, okay, guys, I think we are ready to close the session, wrap up the session. So, bye bye.